right, hey, hello. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, welcome back to Just Breathe, Kelsey. My name is Kelsey, and it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step two, step two, step two, to step two, step two, step two. I'm just kidding. I'm just being goofy. So it's 3 days after Mother's Day, and it's the last week of finals. Yay! I feel as though I passed all my classes with an A. So all A's this year. I only had 3 classes. And they were easy classes. It wasn't like, I don't know, biology or like science classes or even math classes. They were like elective classes to where the only reason why you wouldn't get an A or you wouldn't pass the class is if you didn't do the assignments. That's basically the classes that I was taking this year. But I'm still proud of myself because the first time I went to college and I was going full time, working part time for, yeah, going to school full time and then working part time, and I couldn't keep up with it because financially there was a lot of things that was going on with my financial aid which was stressing me out, and I didn't do well. I think I had like maybe a couple of B's in a couple of my classes. I got a D in one class, or maybe honestly it was probably like A, B, C, and D. I got a D in my it was like a, I want to say it was like a history class or something. I can't fully remember. And then an A in my art class, my drawing class at the university, and then a C in my family statistics something class where you learn about like the statistics of family and things like that. I think it's almost like a psychology major. I don't freaking know. And then I got a B in like my creative writing class. So, yeah. But that was the first time. And then the second time I tried going to school and to work, I did, I don't know if I would say I did a lot worse, but my women and gender studies class, I believe I got like a either a low A, high B. Did I take an art class? No, but I took like a college success class that all transfer students had to take. It's like it's almost like a class that gets you prepared for college that you have to take because it's a requirement. And I got an A in that class. Again, the only reason why you wouldn't get an A is because you're not doing the assignments. My math class, I believe I got a D. Yep, 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 yep. And I would say it's the teacher's fault, which partially is, partially, and I'm not making fun of him, but I would say it's also my fault too, just because I would fall asleep in the class, and like I would ask for help specifically from the teacher, and I still wouldn't get it, and I would feel bad because I'm like, oh, can you explain that again? And it had gotten to the point where I was like, man, if I keep asking this dude like 3 times that I still don't understand, I feel like he's going to get frustrated. So then I just didn't ask. So I would say it's not the teacher's fault, kind of. It's my fault. So I got a D in that class. And then my another English class or history class or something. Um, I think it was English. Either way it go, I didn't pass that class either. Actually, I dropped it. I believe I dropped it like in the middle of the semester. So I withdrew, and that put a damper on my GPA. And then I had a winter intercession class, and I was supposed to turn in like a 12-page paper or a 10-page paper or something. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn in 3 pages. And I even told him, I was like, listen, I know, but I'm done. Like, I'm tired of the class. I'm not getting it. I barely did the assignments. Just fail me. And the teacher was like, "Oh, I can extend, the time and give you some more." No, just, just go ahead and fail me. I'll just take the L, or better yet, I'll just take the F. I'll just take the F. So, I'm happy about that this year. That you know, technically, I'm still a part-time worker, um, but I'm working full-time hours. So I'm still I worked full time and went to school part time. So I'm proud of myself. I will say it was a struggle towards the end of the semester. I would say, and I think I said it in the last video, like after spring break, I was kind of like, oh my goodness, like I got all these projects to do. Art's kind of stressing me out to the point where I don't even like enjoy it anymore, because I'm constantly in my head about it. And then my communications class, like, I was on top of it. And, like, I enjoyed the class. Like, I enjoyed, the way the teacher was teaching it and stuff like that. But it was just like reading the chapters because I would be so, like, I would try to read the chapter, at least start Monday, give myself a head start in reading the chapter. And then, during the week, maybe read a couple of pages or whatever, especially with it being on the computer. And, you know, since I started working on Mondays, like I really don't, I wasn't, I wasn't reading at all. I wasn't reading the chapters. Luckily, I did pretty well on the quizzes and stuff like that. But still, I was feeling bad because I was like, man, I was on top of it. But now, you know, I'm not managing my time better. Like, there should be no excuse for me to not read these chapters. But I was still keeping up with, like, the lessons and stuff like that. And then my fashion aesthetics class, like I liked it and I enjoyed it, learning about, different fashion and the industry and how things are put together and how to make a line essentially and what a customer profile looks like and things like that. But even that was frustrating me because it was like, okay, like I know what you want me to do, but like how can I put that on paper? You know, like my line was a men's line and we had to choose a concept and an editorial concept. And the editorial concept that we had to choose from, it was like some of the examples were Dollhouse, 70s, uh, nautical, kind of gothic, spacey, space odyssey, and it's elementary and it's all jazz. So, um, I chose it's elementary because I was like, oh, that's kind of like, Sherlock Holmes type of feel, and I feel like I could do something a little classic or make something of that nature. And the teacher told us to not use like graphics as much because it'll start looking scrapbooky. Like you want to take from, other examples and, maybe have like some graphics, but just not so much graphic. So it was just kind of hard to display the vision I was wanting for the concept board. and things like that. So that's what was kind of making it frustrating on my end as far as that standpoint. And then my comms class, I don't want to get too much into it just because I don't know who watches this. And but it was pretty good. It was pretty good for the most part. I enjoyed it. The group project came out pretty all right. So I'm satisfied with that. Overall, I feel like I'm satisfied with this semester overall. Like I really do thank God that I was able to one like relax while going to school. I would say this experience is a lot better this go around when it comes to school rather than the last few times I tried doing this same exact thing. It just, and I think mainly it was because I was taking classes that were of my interest, but still pushed me, but also still pushed my brain. Like my comms class actually opened up like more conversations. It was an interpersonal class, so like taking my interpersonal relationships more seriously, or even like finding different ways of being connected more interpersonally, or even finding out more about myself and knowing that hey, like I might be introverted, but like feeling okay with being introverted. Like I deeply care more about interpersonal relationships rather than like being liked by every single person in the room or even talking to every single person in the room. Just finding one to two or three people and like having a conversation. So that's something that I will take from, this semester. And also like I'm actually going to reread the chapters and just find different things because the book that our textbook in my interpersonal communications class, it kind of touches on like some psychology and stuff like that, and like how communication goes with the brain in certain cultures and just the media and things like that. So it'll be an interesting read. Like I kind of nerd out on stuff like that. Now I'm not saying that I know all of it. Like there's still some things I don't know, but like I nerd out on it. I find it fascinating anyway. So, but what I wanted to get on here to say is that thank God the semester is over. And I get to take a break. I'm gonna still be working, but at least like it will just be nice to not have to wake up every day at 9 in the morning to rush to school. I mean, I'm still gonna be implementing that into my daily routine of still waking up at 9 o'clock because this week I'm off of work because of finals. Like I wanted to take the whole week off, to focus mainly on my finals. And then plus I needed to use up my time too. But, I've been waking up at 9 o'clock still like I'm going to class, and I've been more productive. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, which was Tuesday, I cleaned my house. Cleaned it. And I'm not saying my house was disgusting dirty, but it was to the point where I would literally come in and be frustrated and go straight to my room. Like it was really affecting my mood. And I couldn't, I just didn't feel comfortable, and I shower like in the dark to conserve energy, but also like it's supposed to enhance the shower. Just it's supposed to enhance your senses and like making a legit like a exhilarating shower experience. So I didn't like turn on the light when I showered. And when I looked at my tub, I was like, ooh, yeah, it is time to clean it. It is definitely time to clean it. So And then I bought some stuff for my bathroom. So it's like it looks nice. Like I got new stuff in there, and it was much needed. But anyway, I digress. But no, so I've been waking up and getting things done around the house and just enjoying my time off, but also like enjoying my house like I did, when I first started living on my own. So it's nice to get back to that point and to be able to do that because I was in my therapy session a while ago and I was telling the therapist, like, I look at my house and it's literally a reflection of me because during that time I was stressed out. I had a lot going on. I didn't really have time. Like, I would literally, especially like the last week when I was taking on extra hours at work because I knew I was going to be off this week. Like, I still had assignments to do, I still had projects to do. Like, I'd Monday be in school from 12 to 8:50, have to be at work at 9, and I'd get there at like 9:15, and then I'd stay until 3 in the morning. Then the next day, I got to be at work 5 to, I'll say, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the next day 12 to 5:50 I'm in class, and then I have to be at work at 6:30, which I'm supposed to be there at 5, but since my class runs over, 6:30, and then 6:30 to, again, 2 maybe. And I mean, I might not stay till 2, but like I'm staying till 1:45, whatever. The next day, it's Thursday, so I got to be at work from 5 to 2. So it was a lot, and it even though it was a lot, I still got a lot done, but it really was taking its toll on me. And feeling guilty of coming home and not going straight to bed, you know, or even just feeling guilty of wanting to scroll on my phone or scroll on Instagram or even like watch one of my series on the TV or even get on my computer and watch a series. Like I felt bad. Or even like just wanting to, like knowing that I needed to take care of something around the house and I didn't do it because I was so tired and drained and just wanting to sit and just not think. So, but yeah. Anyway, anyway. Overall, the semester was good. I'm proud of myself. I'm thankful and grateful that I got that done. And then next semester will be different because next semester I'm taking a watercolor class, I'm taking a illustrator class, and I'm also taking an intro into public health. I I don't want to say these are classes that I necessarily didn't want to take. The public health just kept popping up, and I was like, that would be kind of interesting to like know. So that's an interest class. The watercolor class is not necessarily a class I wanted to take. I wanted to take a painting class, and yes, watercolor technically is painting, but I wanted to do actual painting. But the painting class that they had conflicted with my schedule, just like my drawing class conflicted with my schedule this semester. And granted, there was a painting class that was at 8 in the morning, but at the time, it's like, I just don't know if my schedule would be able to compute that. You know what I mean? Like, because so it was on a Tuesday and Thursday. So Tuesday, I would have had to wake up at 8 in the morning to get there. Well, I would have had to wake up at 6. shower, eat a little something, and then be in class at 8 in the morning. And that wouldn't have worked because that Monday night I work until 3 in the morning. So that would have conflicted with my schedule because I don't live close to the school. It'd be different if I was like in the same area, then I'd be okay. But like I work almost an hour away from my job and I'm almost like an hour away from school as well. So it wouldn't have worked out. And um the only next best thing was the watercolor class. But I mean, the teacher for the watercolor class is basically my teacher, the same teacher that I had for my drawing class. So, and he's pretty cool. I asked him today, like, what to expect in a class. And the main reason why I wanted to take a painting class is because I wanted to learn, like, how to mix colors and kind of color theory and just dealing with colors because I'm not necessarily a painter. I'm I'm in between like a drawer, I'm in between like a painter, and things like that. So I feel like learning color would at least help me with, you know, coloring or doing markers. I'm more of a marker person, but like putting certain colors together and things like that. I feel like watercolor can do that for me. Even though watercolor I feel like is a little trickier than acrylic, but that's neither here nor there. Um, so that'll be an interesting. I'm excited to take it. And then the illustrator, I wanted to take intro into graphic design because that's kind of what I want to major in. Well, I need to quit saying kind of, but that's something that I'm interested in majoring in. And the intro into graphic design class is from 6 to 8. That would not help. It would only be good for me on Mondays because I work the midnight shift, but on the other days it just wouldn't work because that's when I'm supposed to be in at work, you know. So if it would have been just on Mondays, it would have been okay for me to do. But maybe next year. Well, yeah, next year. Yeah, next year. So we'll see. We shall see. But enough on that. Enough on that. I just wanted to give a quick little update on my life and things like that without getting distracted by this thing. um, Mother's Day passed, and I feel as though it went pretty well. My friend came over and she asked me, you know, if I missed my mom, and I told her, you know, I didn't know. And that's kind of, I mean, I do. It's not that I don't. There's certain things that, you know, I wish my mom could see in the physical realm, you know. And there's also that part of me that's like, but I'm also kind of happy that she is gone because she's not in pain anymore. And like, selfishly, I get to take care of myself now. I mean, granted, I don't necessarily like it. I would like somebody to take on my expenses. But I mean, I don't know. I feel bad for saying that I don't know. But I also don't know how to express what I feel. You know, it's been so long since I've went to her grave site and I went and like, you know, I didn't say anything really. I said, you know, a few words and stuff like that, but not like giving her an update. I just stood there, said what I said and went home. Um and that was on Saturday. And then Sunday, a friend of mine and I went to the botanical gardens and we had a really nice time. We got to see all the plants. We took like a little trail. There was a snake. So we ended that trail. And it was just nice to spend time with someone that day. And I told him like I appreciate you inviting me out because in all honesty, like I didn't have anything planned. Like I would have just been at home, probably doing homework or just staying at home really. So, and I told him I appreciated that and that I appreciated spending time with him. But and my friend, she got to spend time with her mom, and you know, it was nice. It was a really nice Mother's Day. I got some flowers for my mom. Well, technically for my house. Um, so I put so I made my own flower arrangements. I got one in my room. I got one here in the living room. And then my best friend, she gave me some flowers in honor for my mom on Mother's Day. So that was really nice of her to do that for me. Uh, so yeah, Mother's Day was pretty good. Mother's Day was pretty good. Um, Despite that, another reason why I was jumping on here is because I wanted to talk about one, the Netflix series You, also The Last of Us, and I feel like there's another show that I wanted to talk about, and I can't think of the name of it. I think it might have just been those two. Because I talked about the Sinners movie. And I don't know if I'm going to slowly transition into kind of like what I was doing on TikTok, is where I do like different series or just different movies that I see on one of the streaming. Oh, Mufasa. I don't think that was Mufasa, but and maybe Moana too, because I just watched that too. But back to what I was saying. Um, I don't know if I'm going to do like reviews of movies and TV shows and series like I did on TikTok. Um, I don't know if that's just going to be a sector or if I see something that I want to talk about. I don't know if it's going to be like an ongoing thing, but we'll see. We'll see. It's kind of whatever I feel like doing, really. It's not like, oh, well, people want to see that. No, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Whether people like it or not, it's my channel. And I mean, granted, I want people to enjoy what they see, but at the end of the day, if I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, there's plenty of people that have other channels, that have other opinions, and do a lot more other stuff than I do. So, and this is basically my own video journal. So, but I'm trying to figure out which one I want to start with first, because I've seen You, I've seen um I finished watching, I think, was it episode 4? I think it was episode 4 of Last of Us season 2. The Shy is coming on next. No, it's coming on this Friday, and I'm kind of excited to watch it. Kind of excited to watch it. I've seen Mufasa, and I've seen Moana too. So, excuse me. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real. I'm gonna do You first, and then The Last of Us, and then do the movies. So, You is about a guy named Joe. In the first season, he falls in love with a girl that he finds attractive. and he stalks her. And essentially he takes matters into his own hands when he feels like there is somebody that's in the way of them being together, or her being interested in him, or whatever. Like, let's say, you know, she is. I'm trying not to give like a scenario in the show, but also give a scenario that happens in the show. So, say, like, you know, she was in an abusive relationship before, and, she got away from the guy. The guy might have moved on, but he might still be kind of lurking in the shadows or whatever. And Joe is interested in her. And him being a man, he feels like he has to protect her. So let's say, the ex-boyfriend sends the girl like, oh, you're a B word, you're this, you're that, you're nothing, whatever. Joe takes it upon himself to go and take care of the guy to alleviate that stress in her life, to make it to where they're like the perfect couple. And I mean, that's not really a good example, but it's kind of on the premise. Like, Joe's basically a psychopath. He's basically a psychopath. Almost like, and I ain't never seen Dexter, but kind of like Dexter, I guess, in a sense. But season 1 through 4 was really good. I personally liked um I personally like, all of the seasons of that show. Season 5, it is and was the final season. I didn't necessarily care too much about it. Like, I still wanted to see like how it ended, because we were kind of left on a cliffhanger in season 4, and I feel as though with season 5 they didn't really do the show justice. But then it's also like, this character is coming to an end. So it makes sense that it happened the way that it did. But I think the story itself just didn't. I feel, me and my friend were talking about it. I think what would have made it better is to have like not as much um, tropes. And I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but like, again, nothing against any particular people, but like, they had a black guy, they had, which was Joe's wife's brother, that was the outcast of the family because their dad had an affair with, I assume, his mom, which she was the maid or the help or whatever. And he's also a gay man. And then you have two twins. One is a ditzy blonde, typical, and the other one is like the evil stepsister. And she is a brat, basically. She doesn't like, her sister. She doesn't like the fact that her sister is the one that is taking the throne and is coming in and making all the decisions. And, you know, there's drama between, oh, well, yeah, there's drama just within the family and the dad and things like that, and the uncle. And also, one of the twins is not low key, but blatantly racist to her brother. And I get it that it does happen in families, but it's kind of like, pick a struggle. just pick a struggle, please. Like, it's fine that he was gay and it was fine that he was black, but it's just like, does it really make sense to the story of what's going on here? Because I feel like y'all just throwing it in there just to say something, you know? And it's not like there was a lot of gay characters in the other seasons that I can remember off top of my head, but like it just, and that's not my issue. That's definitely not my issue. I think I would say the real issue for me was Joe's love interest in season 5 and her back and forthness of uncertainty and things like that. It was just like, oh my gosh. And then nothing against the actress herself, but like when you look at Joe's roster, it's like, really? You choosing her, Joe? Like, you can do way better. Like, like you had Beck, you had Love Quinn, you had um there was some other women I can't think of. You had a painter, she was cute. Like there was other women, and even Kate, whatever her name is, she was all right. But you just look at her and you just like, like I said, nothing against the actress itself. It was just knowing Joe's line, his roster, you just like, huh? Okay, 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 okay. and um, and then like the last 2 episodes, my friend, she was like, she didn't like the fact that Bronte basically took over, like um finishing off the story. She felt like it should have been Katie that finished off the story. And though I do agree that it is weird that Bronte was the one to finish it, in a sense, we're led to believe that Katie actually died in, you know, in the last episode. We're to believe that. So I understand why they did it from a writer and storyteller point of view. I think what would have made it better is if, well, and then also like, spoiler, when Bronte had Joe um at gunpoint, she threw him uh Beck's book and was like, take out all the stuff that you wrote. And it's like, what? Like, that's the reason why you got him here, not because of all the people that he done killed. Like, you're you're literally doing this all for Beck's book. Like, girl. To me, I feel like if they wanted to have her finish off, you know, the show or finish off the story, I feel like if she would have been if she would have wrote a book about all of his dealings and finishing it off in a book way, then it would have been perfect. I think it would have been fine. I still would have felt a certain way about the series, the last series itself, but it that would have put the icing on the cake. It would have been like, okay, I get it now. Now I know why it is the way it is. But, and I will say, I feel as though the writers were probably tired of the story. Like they've already exhausted all that they could do, and it happens. It really does happen. But I think they could have done better, and that's just my personal opinion. It was still good, but it could have been a lot better. It really could have been a lot better. And I felt like they could have not stuck to certain tropes and not be so cliche and so predictable on some things. I think the only shock factor that I had in the series was when we find out, again, spoiler, that Joe stole the wrong twin. And we find out that the twin sister, the one that's a ditzy blonde, is having an affair with her sister's husband, and then also was pregnant by her sister's husband and produced a child, and yada yada yada. So that was the only wow factor this season for me. So moving on. So finish up you. The next one is The Last of Us. So I rewatched The Last of Us Part 2 game. Still like it. I feel like the gameplay that I saw, I feel like there might have been some cuts, but I'm not about to invest in a whole gaming system and and play the game just because that's my prerogative. But I watched it, and a lot of the things that's going on in season 2 is almost mirrored to the video game. I do like the aspect that they are showcasing scars or the Seraphites more on the show than they did in the game. Because the only times that we really got to see the Seraphites was when, shoot, when those two preteens, uh, came into the picture and helped Abby. Um, the trans character and also, his sister came into the picture. That's the only time that we ever really see the Seraphites. So I will say that in the show they do a good job at like identifying like who they are, what they're about, and like a little bit we're starting to get introduced to them as like a community or as a people, and we see what they can do to outsiders or people that they think are part of the WLF. And we also are seeing a little bit of the FLF, the WLF too. So we're getting more of their storyline along with the show. Um I don't know if we're going to get to that part in the show where we see the evolution of Joel and Ellie's relationship and like how they became closer. So I'm really intrigued on that. Me personally, uh I'm trying to think. I would have to rewatch season 1 to see like, the differences and things like that, but I don't know, the video game was so good. The video game is so good. Um I will say that I liked part 1 better. Part 2, um I know that is basically Ellie's revenge, and I really do hope that they come out with like a part 3 of The Last of Us when this is done. I don't know what direction they could take it into. Um because technically they haven't made another game. I think they said that they was going to make another game, but I might be wrong. I might just be talking out of my butt. But like I understand that part 2 was like Ellie's revenge, and she gets older. Um her relationship with Joel becomes kind of strange and things like that. But and this is my personal opinion, I understand why Joel did did it, um, why he killed everyone at the hospital and things like that, and why he decided to make that decision. Um, Me personally, I can't be mad at him. I mean, you can be mad for him doing it because, you know, I mean, anybody would. But I feel as though they really didn't give, even in the video game, like they told, they find out that Ellie is immune to, the the virus or whatever. She's gotten bit multiple times, but that one bite shows that she's immune. And I did like in the show how they kind of like showed how she is immune, and it makes sense as the reason why she is, because her mom got bit and the DNA got sucked through the mom, through the placenta and into the baby, and the baby still survived and came out normal. But to me, I feel like if they would have told her like, hey, you're immune, and I understand like they in even in the video game they're like, we don't have enough time, and it's like, yeah, y'all kind of do, like y'all do, but y'all don't. Like y'all could have at least sat her down and been like, hey, you know, in order for us to find a cure, we have to go into your brain, and you might not be able to survive this. Like there's no other way for us to save. But then there's also a part of me that I just thought about. Like if they would have talked to her and been like, hey, this is the only option, she could have said, no, I'm not going to go through with it. And then they probably would have just forced her anyway, just because she's not an adult to make that decision and things like that. So it could have went in different ways, but me personally, I felt like I would have 100%. I don't know if I would have killed everybody, but I would have. I've literally can 100% agree with Joel. Like, you know, yeah, she's a child, but like you're not even giving her the choice. You're just saying, "Oh, this is what it is, and we're just going to go through with it." But as we know in the real world, vaccines take months to perfect. You can sit up here and say, oh, we got the perfect formula. And then you try it and it doesn't work. Like, it's months and months and months. It could take up to years in order for a vaccine to be perfected. There's people that are still taking the flu shot and still get the flu. Technically, isn't the flu supposed to help you not get the flu? Technically? I mean, yeah, you get it, but it's not supposed to be like as intense. And even people that got the COVID shot, like there's traces of COVID in it to help your body fight it off. But you can still catch it, and you might not get it as bad, but it can still give the same effects of you just attracting COVID. So, but I say that to say it takes time to perfect it. And you can't just be like, oh, we're out of time. We're out of time. No, you're not. No, you're not. But, and then like, let's say that they did go through that process and they made the cure. And then, they tested and it don't work. So literally she died for nothing. Joe gave her a chance to live, be a normal kid, actually have a family. And when you look at it at that aspect, it's like you really can't fault him. Yeah, he killed a lot of people, but eventually they was gonna die anyway. And that sounds so morbid, but like they were, you know? And morally it's wrong, but it's also wrong for you to kill a child and not even give her the choice to make that decision. I don't even think that the only thing that they told Ellie was, "Hey, you might be the cure since you're immune." And that's all they said, but they didn't tell her like, "Yo." And I mean, at the time, they probably didn't know that that's what they had to do, was go through the brain and extract whatever out of her brain in order for her to, you know, be a part of research or whatever, you know? But still, like, it's, and I can understand why Ellie was upset with Joel. And I can also, in the game, and I can understand why she, in the end was like, "I'm upset with what you did, and I don't know if I could ever forgive you for that, but I want to." And when you see their development, you can see that Ellie looked to Joel as a dad, and he looked to her as his daughter. They spent a lot of time together. Like, they spent a lot of time together. You can't go across the world. You can't go across the world with somebody and not feel a certain way about them. And in that aspect, I think she was like 11 at the time. Now she's grown up, so she's like 18, 19, maybe even 20 years old. So like he's raised her. She was an orphan when he came into the picture. And when he came and was smuggling her or taking her across the country, they developed a friendship, a father-daughter relationship. So yeah, of course he's going to feel a certain way. He couldn't save his own daughter, but there's a child that is looking up to him as a protector, who looks up to him as her father, even like an older brother, older sibling, uncle type of thing. Like, he is her family. Like, yeah, she had Riley, but Riley's dead. Everybody that she's known is dead. And the only person that stuck through with her and is giving her discipline, correcting her, and things like that is Joel. So that is her dad. So you can't fault him for thinking about her future, what little she had at the time. Um, and I can understand why Abby is upset too. She lost her dad. I think what really frustrated me, not just with the show, but like just with the game itself, it's like, and I mean, it's always like, even The Walking Dead, the video game, and I'm pretty sure the series, I never seen the TV show series because I liked the video game a lot more. Shout out to Lee, best Walking Dead character in the whole game besides Clementine and AJ. But the one thing I don't like about those types of games is that everybody starts to turn on each other. And I get it, a lot of people come into power and they let that power go to their head, but it's like, can we not, like, we have to fight the monsters out there. Why are we fighting against each other? Like, yes, survival of the fittest, but there's a lot more of them than there are of us. So why are we even fighting amongst each other? You stay over there, we stay over there. We don't cross paths at all unless we come to an agreement that, hey, you have some resources that we need. Hey, you have some resources that we need, and we help each other out. Maybe that's just the humanitarian in me, but that's the one thing I just don't like about, excuse me, these types of games, these types of shows and stuff like that. I still watch it, but it just annoys me. It really does. It really does. But yeah. But uh overall, I ooh. Ooh, I don't know why I did that laugh. But the dude that played Jesse in the show, hey young, he played he played on Beef with Ali Wong, and what was his, there was another character. Not character, but there's another guy. It's not being racist or prejudiced or whatever, but basically Beef is very like, it's it's not K drama, but there's like a lot of Asians in the show. Like the two main characters are Asian, and there's like a lot of Asian pull to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a really good show. It's a great limited series on Netflix, and I'm gonna rewatch it just because. Hey y'all. But no, the dude that plays Jesse in the show is the guy that was on Beef, and he good looking. It's a shame what's gonna happen to him though. Man, it's a shame what's gonna happen to him though. Mm, mm. I don't even want to think about it. It makes me upset. But uh there was a reason I was bringing him up. I'm not mad at who they casted as Ellie. I almost thought that she was the girl that actually played Ellie for real. But then I came to realize that that's not her. So I'm not mad at who they casted as Ellie. I think they did a good job with casting Joel. I think they did really good with casting Tommy. Maria, I think they did a good job. Maria is actually white in the game, but I'm not mad at them casting the sister. Um, Dina's okay. I think I said her, but Dina's okay. Jesse is fine. He was fine in the game, and he fine in real life in the show. Okay. um. Uh, there is something that I would say that I don't necessarily like about this. Um, and I think it's more so just like reality. Like this last episode, you know, Ellie gets bit and Dina finds out that she's immune, and Dina also finds out that she's pregnant, and like their whole sex scene is like, granted I've watched the L Word, so I know a lesbian sex scene when I see a lesbian sex scene. And the L Word has some great lesbian sex scenes. Um I think I think what was leading up to it is what made me mad, because it's like, and I mean, granted, emotions are flying high. She's starting to feel things for Ellie, which we already knew she was like an Ellie and things like that. But it's like she gets bit, Ellie gets bit, she falls asleep, Dina's watching her, and then she starts hitting herself and Dina starts freaking out, and Ellie's like, "Look, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine." And Dina's like, "I'm pregnant." And then like literally that's what happened. But like I just, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, maybe it could have been done better, or I don't know. Because it's also like, I don't know where the story is progressing. So far, I'm not upset with how they're going about season two. Um, I really hope that I hope that um this next episode we get to see more of Ellie and Joel's relationship flourish and build. And I also want to see Ellie kind of forgiving Joel because that's what she did in the game. I'm really curious as to see what's going to happen with Ellie and Abby because the video game has it going one way, but we don't know what's going to happen in this game or in this series. Like, is Dina going to have the baby, or is she going to miscarry? Is like what's going to happen? Because there's certain things that they are taking from the video game, and there's some things that they are changing from the video game. So I do like that aspect of the show. Um, and I really, I really hope that they don't do exactly everything from the video game. Like, I want them to throw in like some surprises and stuff like that. Something that we're like, what? So they can continue on the story. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I really wish they would have had like Joel stay a little longer, just because it's been so long. And yeah, in the video game, like we would get flashbacks here and there, but we've grown up with these characters. So it's like we went through this whole process of getting to know them and character development, and we've gotten attached to them in part one. That now in part two, it's kind of like, whoa, wait. Like, yeah, we know what happened, but like, can we at least get some time to like see how the story progressed? And I don't want them to just spend one episode on their development. I feel like since there was so much time taken away, because again, she was like 11, 12 when we first meet her, and now she's like 19, 18, 20, somewhere around there. I'll just say like 19, 20. Um, I feel like we need more of, I personally would like more of what happened in between those 7 to 8 years. And I don't think that that would be a one episode thing. And they might do the same for Abby, where, like in the game, they would go back and forth on flashbacks between Ellie when she was younger and Abby when she was younger. They would do that in the video game, going back and forth. I don't know if I necessarily care to see Abby's um, in the show. More than likely, they probably will. I think if anything, they probably won't do Abby's story. They would probably do more so the WLF, and Salt, the Seraphites. I feel like the that's where I feel like what's going to take place more so, rather than just Abby's flashbacks and stuff like that. So, because I don't care about Abby's flashback. I mean, of course, in the video game, it makes sense to the story, but even then, I don't really care about Abby's flashbacks. I mean, the the present story was more doable than her flashbacks. Ellie's was more effective because I know Ellie. I don't know Abby, and I don't care to know Abby. She killed Joel. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care nothing about her flashbacks. But I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff that I need to talk about or wanted to talk about with The Last of Us. But overall, so far the season is pretty good. Like I said, I mean the only thing that I really would have to complain about, not the sex scene itself, but just like how it took place. Like I said, I feel like that whole I'm pregnant, then they have sex is like, I feel like y'all could have done better with that. But then like this dude, he was like, man, and Ellie's nasty fingers. I was like, I mean, she could have at least ran some water, some alcohol. I understand it's a zombie apocalypse, I guess. I mean, technically they're not zombies, but like, you could have at least washed up a little bit, and then, it's the logistics of that. But I mean, other than that, I don't care that much about it. It was all right. All right, on to the next one. So, well, which one I want to do first? Moana 2, um, I fell asleep on it kind of. It wasn't bad. Um, but I feel like, and this is just a little irk for me, I feel like, and I'm not saying, because I don't know like the age of Moana initially, but when I seen the previews, I thought the little girl was her daughter. And I feel like if the little girl was her daughter, it would have hit home a little more for me. Just because, I don't know. I just feel like it just would have been more effective. Because, like, the whole little sister thing, it seemed kind of forced. And it also didn't seem genuine. And I mean, I have a sister, like an older sister, and maybe it's just my own personal my own personal I don't even know if grievances is the right word, but like my own personal dealings probably take an effect more so projection. There we go. Projecting onto it. I just feel like me personally, if my sister would have been going out on a voyage, and maybe if I was closer, I would probably be doing that. But like, I wouldn't have cared. I'm like, oh, you leaving? Dang. Well, I mean, I'll see you when you get back, but you leaving again? Huh. So, and maybe that's just my own pet peeve. Um, I probably shouldn't do Moana because I gotta, I gotta rewatch it because I did fall asleep. But I feel like it was pretty good. Um, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. Um, overall, I think it was all right. I am not doing these reviews any justice because I'm not. I'll just say for Moana. I'll say for Moana. I'm just not giving a good review. Mufasa. Um, for it to be the prequel to the Lion King franchise, it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it being a live action. Um, I still, when it comes to live actions, I'm not the biggest fan of it. The only live action I felt was done beautifully was Brandy's Cinderella. I'm standing 10 toes down on that is the number one live action Cinderella, best one ever made. And I'm not seeing the other ones. I've seen Beauty and the Beast live action, did not like it. I've seen The Little Mermaid live action, and the only reason why I've seen that is because I've never seen the animated one, and I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to see it because it's going to make me feel a certain way about the live action. So no. Um, and I want to say that if it was animated, it probably would have been better. Um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the greatest either. It was okay. Um, One thing that I wish that they would have done is I think it's more so the people that they had as voice actors that made me upset because it was very star studded and it took away from like the actual story. So like Blue Ivy, she did a good job with her playing Kiara. Um uh Daniel Glover or Childish Gambino, he was there, but I feel like the voices that played Timon and Pumbaa, it was like, ugh. Rafiki was okay. Um and I mean, I really don't know. Like, I don't know what they could have done to improve it or make it better. I think my only pet peeve was just when they do movies like that where they make it to where like there's so many celebrities and so many known people that it takes away from the story itself. Like, it's okay to have, a couple of known people or even like two to three known people, but or four, whatever. Like, not to where it's so star studded that you're like, oh, that sounds like Beyonce. Oh, that sounds like Blue Ivy. Oh, that sounds like Seth Rogen. Oh, that sounds like so and so. Oh, that sounds like so and so. Oh, there's so and so that you just lose sight of the story itself. So it's not as good as it was planned to be, just in my opinion. And maybe that's why I don't necessarily like live action as much. Because I mean, technically, the live action Brandy Cinderella, it had Whitney Houston, it had Brandy, it had Whoopi Goldberg, it had the dude from Seinfeld. It had oh shoot, like it had some pretty star-studded actors and actresses in the movie, but like it wasn't so star-studded that you lose sight of the character that they're playing. Like, yeah, we know it's Brandy, but she's playing Cinderella. Yeah, we know it's Whitney Houston, but she's playing the fairy godmother. Yeah, we know it's Whoopi Goldberg, but she's playing the queen, you know? So there's just a way to go about it. And maybe because, they need the stars because they want to get people in the seats. And there's, this new generation that is not watching the first Lion King, the animated version. They're seeing the live action, which granted that's fine and dandy, but for me that still loves animation, I still watch Toy Story. They could have Toy Story 15 come out and I'm still watching it. I'm pushing them kids out the way. I'll be 60 years old talking about, is that Woody and Buzz? Is they still going around? Ain't this Toy Story 77? I would still watch it. I like the art of animation, and I feel like we're starting to get away from actual cartoons. And I just, I don't know. I'm very particular about certain things like that. And I like to keep animation. Now, granted, that's CGI animation, but that's not animation. Um, that's just like the new Shrek is supposed to be coming out. Now, I don't know if it's coming out this year or next year, but I'm going to go see that. You know, Shrek 5. I'm going to definitely go see it. And I'm probably going to have an opinion about that. So, yeah. But that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. It's been a long video, but I just wanted to get on here. I've been wanting to get on here for a while, and I just didn't make the time for it. So, this was the only time I had. So, yeah, till next time. I don't know what we're going to be talking about then, but it'll probably be something. So, till next time.